Before we get into the video, I had a little idea, and let me know what you guys think. I'm thinking of calling this series either Talk Nerdy to Me or Gamer Comms. Honestly, Talk Nerdy to Me might be a little bit better just because these videos are like more structured. I literally write essays. Like, I literally write the essay out before I film this. So I was thinking maybe Gamer Comms can be like more of an episode where I talk unscripted. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about it, so let me know how you guys feel. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Thinking back to my early days of not having to pay bills and stress about life, the first ever horror game I was to encounter was Grabbin' by the Ghoulies, or at least the very first horror game I could even remember. Of course, I was way too young to play the game, and I had to watch my older brother and his friends enjoy all the fun. Maybe occasionally I would get the unplugged controller giving me the illusion of playing, but regardless, you get the point. Now that I've grown up, spooky/horror games are so interesting to me, and they make up a big percentage of the games I enjoy. Since I didn't get to play a lot of horror games as a kid because I genuinely was very easily scared, it's interesting to see how many games I enjoy now that are considered horror games. Resident Evil, Outlast, Alien Isolation, Dead Space, Silent Hill, Until Dawn, and the list goes on and on. I just don't want to bore you all. This goes to say that most horror games have specific things that make them interesting. However, I've noticed that countless games tend to contain various amounts of the same exact structure. That's why when I first stumbled upon a Markiplier video in 2014 of a new game called Five Nights at Freddy's, I was captivated. Obsessed, bewitched, you name it, whatever you want to call it. I was so intrigued by this video game that in school for creative writing, I would base most of my stories on this universe, which is really sad to say. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the weird stuff, it wasn't no smut or anything, because I literally had to read these stories out loud in class. Like, I wasn't that weird. But I was trying to fill in the pieces of information that the game wanted. It was me trying to figure out the story, or even me putting myself in that universe to see what I would do differently. Nevertheless, this game had me and so many others addicted. And proof was in the pudding because it took the gaming scene by storm when it blew up on YouTube. Everyone was talking about this game. Even from a young age, I knew that this game was doing something differently. So, without further ado, let's get into the multiple reasons why I personally believe that FNAF has changed the way horror games are created and played out. With many examples to be shown into light, we begin with the simple fact of mobility. In a significant amount of horror games, especially in early years, mobility is a player's greatest advantage. The sheer fact that you can escape this danger that's chasing you and flee to safety is what gives players a sense of ease. This fact, also combined with large or different maps/sections to escape or hide, also gives a sense of closure. Whether you're trapped in an asylum like Outlast or lost in the woods like Until Dawn. It gives reassurance that there is a possible chance of you escaping this threat or hiding somewhere until it goes away. At least the enemy has no knowledge of where I am for a certain amount of time, right? With FNAF, however, they do things a bit differently. Five Nights at Freddy's leaves you confined to one single room. You are unable to leave, get up, and even walk around. However, you can look around, inspecting things such as doors, lights, and your setup in front of you. The game also gives you a security tablet, allowing you to tap into multiple security video cameras around the pizzeria. With this information, this game completes an excellent execution of allowing the player to physically see the dangers it has to manage while still being frozen in the same spot, never able to truly flee or hide. With what we know about humans and adrenaline, this game takes out your only other option, giving you only one solution: to stand and fight to survive. This simple fact feeds more terror in my brain. The concept of being trapped has truly made a difference in horror games for me. In addition to this fact, some of the best gaming moments wouldn't be achieved without an awesome soundtrack. Music is a universal way of setting a tone and pace of a story/game/show, even movies. Thunderous and racing music as you run from a killer or monster, slower, softer sounds to showcase the falling action of a character's deep backstory, and even optimistic, joyful pitch to let the player know that they survived till the story's end, no longer in the eyes of danger. Some of my favorite chase scenes as of recently have been those of Poppy Playtime. It's a straightforward way of adding suspense and highlighting the horrors that chase you as you play. To contrast this, the only music we truly ever hear in FNAF is played one of two times. One when you complete the level by finishing the in-game 7 hours, giving you a simple rejoiceful bell ringing, almost like a grandfather clock. And two, a music box-like tune played to acknowledge that you did not complete your task and have failed the night. Throughout your playthrough of this game, you will realize very quickly the atmosphere surrounding you. You are to be left alone with your thoughts as though you were actually in the room where it happened. As if you are actually on a late night security watch. I will admit, however, they do have great ambiance paired with great sound effects that make the game come to life. Simple audio details such as the fan blowing, the telephone ringing, voicemails, light bulb changes, button clicks, and the camera swapping are key attributes that keep the player feeling like they are physically in the game, while also being completely alone with these haunted animatronics. On top of this, there are certain sound cues that also help you in determining when the enemy will attack and what enemy is stalking you. For example, you can hear a strange laugh outside the door, which can alert you that Freddy might be near. And if you hear singing, it's a signal that Foxy might be coming to attack. I think this creates such a scary and lonely atmosphere that not a lot of games have. I think this style choice to not have music really helped with the game and meet a new high popularity. In the same fashion, giving players objectives and achievements help tell the story and move along through plots. Different directives such as finding a specific landmark or having to acquire a certain object helps players move with a sense of purpose. As mentioned before, however, FNAF doesn't have mobility, so how would you get a player to engage in completing this game? Well, it's simple really. You make the problems come to them, the player, which results in having to do everything in their power to keep these problems away. Your objective in FNAF is to survive the night by keeping the animatronics out of your safe haven. Using lights, closing doors, security cameras, and listening out for the sound cues, all these options help you through the hours. Although, while having all these benefits to help you, it comes at a cost. These tools are the very things that are draining the necessary power you need to stay alive. So, I guess you could say these things are both a blessing and a curse. I've stated these facts to say that it's such a different play style of a video game, especially for horror. It basically keeps you being strictly on the defensive side. This also spills over into another fact of multitasking. FNAF gives you all the solutions you need at once. You don't need to spend time unlocking something or finding someone or something different. All your tools, advantages, and tasks are laid out before you. No waiting, no searching. So that leaves you with only one thing left to do: multitask. Between checking on your power source, making sure the room is secure, and managing outside of the office with the screen monitors, this takes your attention off the horror aspects and it puts it on the back burner in your brain. Due to these facts, I believe that this is why the jump scares in FNAF are just way more effective compared to other games. Again, you may still be scared playing the game, however, your mind is still occupied by trying to manage all the things and all the other aspects of the game in front of you. So when enemies do scare you, it's on a whole nother level.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
Finally, with all these hard-hitting details, one still stands, and it's my favorite outlook on the matter, which is lore. Games always have great stories and very mesmerizing ways of keeping a player entertained. Referencing back to the objectives topic said in our most recent paragraph, you get a lot of backstory to be able to know what or who you're searching for. Now, I will admit, a lot of games do leave information out. Not every single game is going to tell you the exact reasoning or how everything came about in that universe. With this in mind, I do think FNAF does it better, because you really have to find the lore in the game. Hidden throughout posters on the wall, we can see news about kids disappearing throughout the pizzeria, and how parents complain about how awful the animatronics smell in a newspaper article. Now, these key details aren't just given to us. Again, it took some investigating for people to first discover these creepy facts. We also get bits of information through Phone Guy, giving us a quick mention of the bite of 87. We can sense that something is off, however. We don't have the full puzzle, but we know that something sinister is going on. This simple fact in itself creates a fan base wanting to know more, wanting to know what happened to these kids and why these animatronics work the way they do. Scott dropped just the right amount of lore to make it buzz, but not enough to a point where people had to do their research. They had to deep dive into the game and try to find out the mysteries within. While giving these facts, I think it's clear to see how this game took crazy chances to earn its success. And over time, many other games, whether it was fan-made or a separate entity, have taken these crazy chances as inspiration. It opens up a new playing field in the genre of horror video games. And honestly, I can't wait to see what happens next to further our experience. And if you made it this far into the video, I want to give you 5 big booms.
Boom! 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 Boom!
No, honestly guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys made it this far, and if you stayed this long, I really appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening to me yap about Five Nights at Freddy's out of all things. And even if people, just clicked on it real quick and clicked off, or maybe left it in the background or something, I don't know, whatever the case may be, if you just clicked on this video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I can't wait to make more of these videos for you guys, and if anybody has any topics that they do want me to talk about, definitely leave it in the comments. I want to try to do things that are interesting to you guys as well, not just me. It just really depends if I know the video game, which if I don't, it might take me longer to cover that. But you guys get the point. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.